Okay.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Everything Under the Moon. I am your host tonight. My name is Becky McKitty Guidison, and with me, like normal, is Kyrra. Good evening, Kyrra.
Hi, good evening, everybody.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you, Becky?
Surviving. We were talking before we got on air that we're not getting much of a monsoon this year, sadly. So it's just heat after heat after heat with no relief at all, it seems. And they kept promising us this huge, great monsoon. And I think I've seen one day of rain so far, and it sprinkled.
Yeah.
So I don't know where this great monsoon is that we're supposed to have, but apparently we're not getting it. We have a big umbrella over Arizona, apparently. So hopefully we get it soon. We need it. So our special guests tonight are Ty and Mike from Spirit Exchange. Good evening.
It's Spirit Xperience.
Good evening.
Xperience. Sorry. For some reason, I thought exchange. Oh, I know why I thought that, because of the X that you guys have in front of it. That's why I was thinking that. How are you guys doing tonight?
We are well. We are very good.
Yeah, and I heard that it's hot there in Savannah, Georgia, too.
It is hot. Right now, I have a storm coming through, but
see, at least you're getting the storm.
Right, yeah, the rain you're looking for. We're getting it. We've been getting it for weeks now.
Yeah.
Almost every afternoon.
Just move it our way. Come on,
Yes.
you get to move over.
Hey, it's
Go west.
our tours. You can have it.
yes. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I know Arizona's a desert, but we do need water.
Oh, yes. I definitely do.
I'm like, we need it. And we definitely need it because it's been so hot. And usually our monsoons cool us off and make it a little bit nicer to survive the summer. And we have not gotten that yet. So it's just 100 degree after 100 degree with no relief. And it's not fun.
No.
I know for us up here in the Phoenix area, it's been cooler, hasn't been 115, but it's been more humid. It's trying to rain.
Mhm.
You think it's going to because it's humid, and then it's nope, actually, nah. And I'm
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's what's really bad about Arizona is when we get our monsoon, we do get that humidity with it. So we're not that dry heat anymore, which, is still hot. It's like opening an oven door. But we get that humidity with the high temps and we're not getting the rain. So we're just out here suffering. Major time. It's send that rain, send those storms. We need it for sure. That is definitely something we need. But Ty and Mike, how we always start every show is that we let you introduce yourselves and where you're from and a little bit about you. And then we move on to some random questions and then we'll talk about your tour.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, okay. My name is Mike DeFore. I'm from Georgia. I've lived here my whole life. I've lived in the Savannah area since I was 18, and I'm a little bit older than that now. So I've been in the Savannah area for quite a while now. Some of my background, I am a former pastor, and with that, I was thankfully I was able to go to seminary and whatnot, and so I do have some of that I brought with me to the paranormal world. Some of that studying and learning that I had. But I'll be honest, for the longest time, I thought that all paranormal activity was either angelic or demonic in nature until I met this beautiful lady right here. I met her about 6 years ago. Now, through her, I found that there's numerous human spirits around us all the time, to the point where I've nicknamed her Spooky because spooky things happens around her. Let her tell you about her.
Hi, y'all. My name is Ty DeFore. He's my husband. And I'm not originally from Savannah at all. I'm actually from Colorado. And as a young child, I lived in Tucson, Arizona as well.
Mhm.
So, yeah. For me, the spirit world has always existed. When I was born quite prematurely. So at birth, I was actually baptized and given my last rites. I wasn't supposed to make it. My first memory of the spirit world was actually at age 4. Living in Tucson, Arizona, going down for my nap, probably about 11 o'clock in the afternoon or morning. Grandma's novellas were coming on or her soap operas. So saying my afternoon prayers with her, and she's leaving my room, and I'm seeing shadow people. I don't consider myself a psychic or a medium. I'm simply a beacon to the spirits, or even clairvoyant. It went away for about a year when I went through some personal stuff, and then it slowly started coming back. I'm open to all religions. I am Christian, but I'm open to all religions, and I love exploring and learning new things and learning about the spirit world.
Very cool. Well, like I said, we always start the show with like some random questions, and I literally don't know what I'm picking. I just draw the little questions. We have several in here. Some of them really make our guests think, so I'm going to warn you about that.
Okay.
That's good.
So some people are like, "Oh, that's a good one." Others are easy, so we'll see what we get.
We like to think.
Oh, this one's an easy one. So what is your favorite cartoon character? And if you don't have a favorite cartoon character, then character from a TV show or anything like that.
I'm a huge Goofy fan.
Oh,
Absolutely.
my daughter will side with you on that. She loves Goofy.
Huge Goofy fan. And I love Dot.
Who?
Dot.
Oh, from the Warner Brothers. Yes.
What about you, my love?
Oh, I'm old, and so this is going to sound kind of cliche, but I like Bugs Bunny. I've always liked Bugs Bunny. He's a smart aleck, he just, So Bugs Bunny's always been one of my favorites, even though you can't really find him anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I know my kids, they're not really that familiar with, like Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck. They're not really familiar with those characters at all because those aren't really found as much anymore.
Oh,
So they're very familiar with Disney, but then I'm a Disney adult, so of course they're going to know Disney.
gotcha.
But of course that is found like all over the place. I think when it comes to cartoon characters, I think it's like Snoopy and Disney that you find the most of.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't really think, it's rare to find the other characters, but I definitely think it's Disney and Snoopy that you see the most of.
I think you're probably right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why that is, but I remember, and I'm going to start showing my age here now. There used to be a Warner Brothers store at the Tucson Mall, and they did have, like Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Taz, Tweety Bird, all those. So it was like in comparison to the Disney store. Oh. And I know it didn't last that long, though. It only lasted a couple years. But my oldest daughter, her nursery was Looney Tunes.
Oh.
So I did a lot of shopping at, Warner Brothers to get that Looney Tunes stuff. It's so funny. Being a Disney adult, you would think I would have had a Disney nursery for one of my 3 girls, right? Never did. Never had a Disney nursery for any of my kids, even though I am a huge Disney fan. I had Looney Tunes for my oldest. My middle had Care Bears, and my youngest just had animals.
Okay.
So I never had Disney. I always thought that was funny. I'm like, my whole house is Disney, but I never had a Disney nursery. I'm like, I don't understand why it went that way, but that's just the way it went. All right, I'm trying to get this one out. All right. Oh, you're getting easy questions tonight. I'm going to have to dig a little bit better. What kind of books do you enjoy?
I like horror books. I like thrillers. I love one of my favorite books of all time will always be The Shining. I love to read it. I could read it over and over again. Midnight in the Garden, Good and Evil's amazing. But yeah, there's certain chapters in The Shining that I still have to read with him laying next to me or with the lights on, like all lights on. But I mean, yeah.
Well, now I do like horror and that sort of thing, some fiction, but
No more music.
well, yeah, my training was in philosophy, so I do like reading philosophical treatises. That's not exciting, I know, and I do like some theological kind of books. But for fun, what I really go to is books about music, especially grunge, punk, that era. That's sort of so I devour those books. I love them.
Kyrra, I don't know if I do know the answer or not on what kind of books you enjoy.
Me, I read a lot of like nonfiction books, just like whatever I'm researching at the time. Outside of that, I'm trying to read more fiction books this year, but I definitely trend on like the young adult fiction, like nothing too serious, nothing too spooky. I do love The Shining, though. That is an amazing book. I love Stephen King's earlier works.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was a big fan growing up of the vampire romance book series. I had like 6 different ones I read.
Vampires. Oh,
I'm guessing Twilight was one of them.
Oh yeah, there's Twilight, there's House of Night, there's Blue Bloods, there was Vampire Academy. I could keep going. There were so many.
No, I did. There were so many.
Yeah, I don't like horror, so I definitely won't read horror. I don't like horror movies. I don't like horror books. None of that stuff. I read about the paranormal, of course, and then, of course, like the Disney Twisted Tales and stuff like that. I don't really read that much because I don't really have the time to read, but when I do make the time, I used to read a lot, and not anymore, sadly. I did read a book in a day because I got so into it, but I don't know.
Yeah, he loves to pick up a book and just, I won't see him or he'll just be reading. He's like, I'm almost done. I'm almost done.
Yeah, that's how I was with the one book I was reading. I got so into it that I couldn't put it down and I couldn't stop. But I'm trying to get through a book now, but I've just been so busy with everything else that I'm I read a chapter and then I'm like, oh, I got to go do this. And it's just sitting there. I know once I sit down to actually read it, I'll get it done in less than a day, but it's just finding the time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next one. If you could meet any famous person, it doesn't matter if they're alive or dead, who would it be?
Mm-hmm.
And when I say famous, it can be movie star, musician, or just, anyone that's, well known.
Really? Oh, well, honestly, God. I have a lot of questions.
That was I was going to say Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus.
I would like to.
I have a lot of questions.
but second place, Hunter S. Thompson. So there you go.
There you go. Babe. Those are really
paradoxes
then. But yeah.
What about you? Same.
I mean, yeah, I would say Jesus, and I was saying in a close second would actually be Hunter S. Thompson. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's an interesting guy. He's passed away. He was a gonzo journalist is what he called himself. He was a very interesting man. I would like to just sit and listen to him for a while if I could.
Very cool. All right. Well, this one kind of goes with the other one, I guess. And by the way, all these questions have been put together by team members and people that decided, hey, why don't you try to, ask this one? So if anyone's listening and you would ever want me to add a question, feel free to email them to me or DM me, and I'll be happy to add them. So this one is, if you were on a set of any TV show, it doesn't matter if it's a current TV show or past TV show, what set would you be on? So what TV show would you be a part of? Or movie? Doesn't have to necessarily be a TV show.
Well, I got, if you want to think for a moment.
Yeah.
Ghost Hunters.
Ghost Hunters?
I want to be on set with Ghost Hunters. That's originally on. That would be awesome.
Yeah. The original cast.
Yes.
Bring it back. Yeah, that would be nice.
That's a good one. I was thinking kind of more recent. I was thinking like 28 days.
Oh, okay.
I was kind of thinking 28 days. Yeah, Ghost.
28 days later, you're thinking of, or
No, was it 28 days
I don't know.
with Dan that just passed away? The TV show, my love, where the paranormal teams went into those.
Oh, yes. Okay, 28 days. Yes, with Dan Rivera that just
Yeah.
passed away. Okay, now I'm with you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that was
You're supposed to know what each other thinks and help each other out here.
You said 28 days, and I'm thinking the Sandra Bullock movie. It's like, you want to be on a recovery set?
Okay.
Oh, no.
It was 20.
It is. It's 28
or
days.
26 days.
No, it's 28 days. That's the one where on, I think it was Netflix, where they had people go off in different locations to investigate.
Oh, okay.
And,
I've never watched it, so.
Rivera, what's his name?
Tony Sapiro.
Tony Sparrow and Dan Rivera, who just passed away, was like acting like they were kind of monitoring everything and piecing it together. And so that was a neat show.
I found it interesting.
Okay. Yeah, I've never watched it, so I didn't know what you were talking about. But I have watched Ghost Hunters, and in fact, Ghost Hunters is basically why I'm doing what I'm doing. So
28 days haunted, somebody said. That's why.
Thank
Good.
you.
Thank you. Yes.
oh, there you go. You got the answer. Yeah, Ghost Hunters was my main reason to get into this because of the fact that I didn't think people talked about the paranormal up until I saw that show. So I was basically told, you're crazy, don't talk about it.
Well, what really got me interested, I don't know if you recall the one where they went to St. Augustine, Florida at the lighthouse,
Mm-hmm.
and a full body apparition looked down on them. And I saw that, and immediately I went, that was real. They actually caught a spirit on camera. And that really got me wanting to investigate and seeing that. So that they really did influence me.
All right. Yeah, I've seen pretty much every single episode of Ghost Hunters. I just happened to find it by chance. I wasn't looking for it. My husband and I have a bad habit. And this was, back when they had cable, not, not where you had to subscribe to every little thing to get your 2 shows that you like.
And then you watch the whole season in one time and you're all set.
That I miss. I literally miss where you just had cable and you didn't have to subscribe here for this show, here for that show. It's so annoying. But back when it was just cable and you used to flip channels to find something to watch for the night, my husband was flipping channels, and because we'd keep it there for a couple minutes to see, oh, this is interesting or not. And Ghost Hunters was on.
Mm-hmm.
And when I found out what it was, I was like, let's watch it. And he's like, okay. And I watched the entire episode. I was like just glued to the TV, which is unusual for me. There's only certain shows I'm like that with. And after the show was done, I kind of looked at my husband and I was kind of like really scared to ask, but I asked him if he believed in ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me that he had an experience, and I was like, cool. And I was telling him about my lifetime full of them. But the thing was, up until then, my ex would tell me I was crazy because we lived in an apartment that was haunted, and you cannot convince me otherwise. And I grew up in a haunted house. And in the apartment, I kept telling my ex, this is haunted, it's haunted. And he kept saying, you're insane, you're insane. People don't, have experiences with this stuff, and people don't talk about it. And so up until that show, I kept that stuff to myself because I was basically told I was crazy if I talked about it. So,
Yeah.
So I'm very, very familiar with Ghost Hunters. That is definitely one that I do like, and I love it. Okay, next question here. What is or was your dream career? Maybe you're doing it, but what was your dream career when you were growing up? What did you dream of being?
Well, when I was a teenager, of course, I wanted to be a rock star. I mean, who didn't? Right? But no, I guess I've been really blessed because things I wanted to do. Well, I was a pastor for 8 years, and so I enjoyed that. Now I thought about becoming a professor, but when more I looked into it, the more I realized I didn't want to do that. And then I guess like what we're doing now is pretty awesome, really. I mean, if you would have told me when I was young what I'd be doing today, I would be going, well, what are you? No, there's no way. That just makes no sense whatsoever. But we're
Right.
actually, we're living what a lot of people probably who's watching now that would love to do. I mean, our whole life revolves around the paranormal.
Yeah.
And so we're really blessed in that matter.
Yeah. Truthfully, I always just wanted to be a wife and to have children. And marrying Mike, I got both those. Got my boys and my husband.
Well, there you go.
And I love what we do.
Yeah.
I mean, not just the tour part. I love the paranormal. I love listening to people talk about their experiences. I love helping people understand the paranormal and not be afraid of it or scared of it. I love learning new thoughts and processes, learning about new equipment. I love every aspect of it. It's not a job for me. I enjoy it.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't enjoy it every day when it's 98 outside and with the humidity at 100%. I like air conditioning, but I enjoy seeing our guests have the experiences, smile, and be, I guess, I don't want to say awed by it, but have a different process in their mind going on. Like maybe this is real. Maybe I am open. I love seeing that. Just that little change in their personality about the other side. I just love when that clicks and that they think about it a little bit more. They're more open. I love that.
Right. Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, there's times that you don't love it, and you mentioned the heat, and that just put a vision in my head that I love what I do too. I love working in the paranormal. I love investigating. I love having my own, ghost company. And it's just that vision though, to where there's been times I go on investigations and the investigation places are not ideal. And I've been in extreme heat situations to where you're burning up, extreme cold, which I guess out here isn't very cold, but it can still get, chilly, especially when you're used to the 110 degrees. So basically, with no air control at all, no airflow. I've been in situations to where I am up in like a little attic where I can't even sit up straight. So yeah, the situations you get in aren't always ideal, but yeah, it's still fun and you still make the best of it. But
Oh yeah.
as soon as you said that, that's where my mind went. I'm like, yeah, I can remember all those investigations that were not comfortable. And I'm like thinking, I had to tell myself, I love what I do. I love what I do. Especially in areas where there's a lot of bugs, because I don't like bugs. I really have to remind myself of that then.
Oh, I mean, sometimes he has to go check. When we're doing investigations, he's a retired plumber, so I make him go check.
Love that.
I have to squeeze my body in there, or sometimes I'm like, can we just buy me one of those hazmat suits? He's like, no, because if you move, it makes too much noise and we can't record it. Because I'm like, go in there, look, make sure you clear all corners. He's like, fine, babe.
Not of spirits, of bugs.
Yeah. What has been like one of the worst experiences you've had with that? Not with the spirits, but with, the space. Has it been like really bad bugs or just cramped or?
No, really.
Well, I mean, you didn't go in there, but at one house in Bluffton we were at, there was a attic's crawl space in there.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is it's an extremely old house, and the insulation has not been updated in there. And so it's literally just falling down all over me and getting all over me, all itchy and everything. But, you know, somebody had to go in there. So I was the one to go in there. So, yeah, but that, it just made me so itchy was the problem after that. But like she said, I have done plumbing work. So a lot of that crawl spaces and things like that doesn't bother me at all. It just
Right.
it doesn't bother me. You know, you do get in some places that's not safe. You just have to walk around, you know, do it before it gets nighttime to make sure you can know where to step without falling through the ceiling.
Yeah, you don't want that.
But, you know, like you're saying, though, if you're paranormal investigation, this is just part of it. I mean, that's just, it comes with the territory. Unless you're doing private investigations, which we also do those, you know, free of charge. And those are always nicer because that's usually somebody's residence that you're going to. So those are okay. You do have to get in some spots, but those are okay. But a lot of the stuff, you know, we get into is older places. So that just comes with the territory. You know, it's just part of the deal.
Usually, honestly, for me, he's pretty amazing. He usually keeps me on the ground level. Not only do I love Goofy, I'm as clumsy as Goofy is. So, I mean, he really tries not to put me on like ladders or anywhere that I could actually fall out of or fall off of because somehow I will probably do that. I mean, I'm pretty bad at that. So usually he's like, you stay right here, sit down, and just listen, record, listen, just don't walk. You don't have to, because I'll trip. I trip upstairs. So I'm complete klutz. I admit it.
No, I am the same exact way. I feel you on that.
Kyrra, have you been on any investigations with us that have been what you consider yucky? I know you've been mainly doing business ones with us. I don't know if you've really done any.
No, I mean, like, it's like really like dusty and dirty in like the older places, and then like in undertakers, like there's no
There's
like
no airflow.
AC,
Yeah.
so that can get a bit stifling at times, but not really. I haven't been on anything that's like super like
Yeah.
yeah.
You've been lucky so far.
Yes.
The next case I get that's questionable, I'm going to make sure you're there.
Oh, okay.
Again, it's out of love.
Mhm.
I remember putting her up in a silk bonnet, so not so it doesn't make so much noise, so nothing gets in your hair.
Nice.
I remember, like I said, there's been several cases to where, I've been in tight spots, or I've had to climb ladders, or I've had to, do this or that. But one case, there's been two that I've been like, oh, this is horrible. I hate it. One, I ended up not doing. I can't say luckily because that sounds mean, but they did have a family emergency. And so I was like, okay, you need to take care of that. Don't worry. And I ended up not going back and telling them to fix a few things first because they had like exposed wiring and stuff like that. But their house was filled with roaches. Like you didn't even have to turn off the lights to see the roaches, because you just know how usually they try to hang out in the dark and not be seen. No, these roaches were out like doing dances. I swear there was a ton of them. And I, being that I hate bugs, I was like, oh my God. And I was like, I told my team members, I'm like, do not open the cases before you put them in the car, check them. I did not want to take home the roaches. They were that bad. The other case I remember that was really yucky that we did investigate, but we ended up cutting it short because I'm a claustrophobic person.
Mm-hmm.
And this house literally only had pathways to get from room to room. Other than that, everything was stacked high, like boxes, papers, whatever it was, taller than me. It was like from the floor to the ceiling, and you only literally had a pathway to get through. Yeah. Even on their stove, they had stuff like piled on top of the stove. And I was just like, how? And they made the comment when we got there, oh, we cleaned and we made spots for you to sit. They had like a 2-seater couch that they had cleaned off for us. And that was like it. And it just after so long, I was just like, okay, this is way too claustrophobic for me. I feel like things are going to fall on me. I was like, we're leaving. I'm like, whatever we got.
Well,
I
let
can't.
me ask, what did you think you had there, if anything? I know
They thought that they had like lizard people and all kinds of other stuff. In all honesty, I think it was just their environment because of the way they were living. I think environment can play a lot with your mind, and I think it was just the way they were living. And I even made that comment to them. I said, you need to keep in mind your environment, and the fact that they had old food and who knows what else. I'm like, your environment can play a role in what you're feeling.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, and we didn't catch anything at all. So I just told him, I said, you might just want to keep that in mind.
Okay.
I don't think they appreciated that I told them that, but it is what it is. I was nice about it. I didn't come out and say, hey, your place is filthy, clean it. I just, made the comment, your environment will play a role in your feelings and, whatever it is that you're thinking you're going through. So I would keep that in mind. I was trying to be nice. I was trying, but I could not be in that. And it wasn't just the house. It was like outdoors. They just had junk everywhere. So that should have been a sign when we pulled up and saw like a bunch of stuff piled in their carport where you couldn't even get a car in there and you could barely walk in. It was bad. It was like they were hoarders and they kept everything, every little thing they've ever had, they kept.
Now, I personally got to ask, how did you handle the family that had the cucarachas, the roaches?
I actually have not had that. We have not had that come in at all. Usually the calls we get are really pretty simple calls.
No, the one that had the roaches? How did you handle the guests? Sorry. Cucarachas are roaches, I'm sorry.
I was there to interview them.
Oh, okay.
And we did take our investigation stuff, but like I said, I told my team not to open anything up. They had I don't know if it was the wife or the girlfriend. She ended up really sick and in a lot of pain. Mm-hmm. And so I told them, I said, take care of that. We did do baseline readings and stuff like that. And our equipment was going crazy with that stuff because of the fact that they had the exposed wiring, stuff like that.
Of course.
So basically what ended up happening was when we left and they recontacted me, I told them, I said, okay, I'm going to tell you right now, we're not going to be able to do an investigation until you get that exposed wiring taken care of, because our equipment is not going to work in your house. And we're not going to be able to get any type of correct results because of the fact that that exposed wiring is so high. And I told them that exposed wiring is also what can make you feel like you're being watched.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So I basically told them, get that taken care of first. And then if they were still experiencing things to call, but I guess lucky for me, as mean as that sounds, they didn't call back. But I am so thankful because I don't like bugs and I don't, I didn't want to put up with that at all. That was not something I wanted to deal with.
I mean, especially like hearing stuff crawling around or scratching, I think I would have to say, you might have an infestation of bugs. Take care of that.
Yeah, definitely. We've gotten a case before to where I did not take this case, and I forget why I didn't. I mean, my team members went on it. I didn't go on it. I had something going on at the time and I couldn't. And one of the claims was the fact that they were having noises in the wall and things on the counter falling and breaking. And this was before we started doing like a survey. We now send out a survey to people and asking them these, certain questions.
Right.
But this was before we started doing surveys, stuff like that. And when my team member went out there, right away they started hearing the scratches in the walls and all this stuff. And the residents like, oh yeah, by the way, we have mice in our wall.
Well, there's a scratching.
Yeah.
And that's what my team member was like, well, don't you think that's the scratching? Don't you think that that's probably what's making things fall off your counter because they're coming out? They ended up finding nothing else on the case except for the fact that they had a rodent problem.
Mhm.
So this is when we started coming up with the idea of we need to send out a survey and start asking people, are they aware of rodent problems? Are they aware of this? Or, that way we're not wasting our time to go out there for something that they already know, but they're thinking it's paranormal. Doesn't make sense.
A good idea. I mean, that's very, saves your time, their time, and
Oh, yeah. So before we take any case, there's like this survey that we send out. And we ask, do you have a bug problem? Do you have a rodent problem? Anything like that? Because if we're getting, we're hearing scratching or whatever in the walls. Well, if they know that they have a rodent problem or bug problem, well, that's your scratching in the walls. That's most likely it. Let's get an exterminator out there before we go out there. Right. So we've learned what questions to ask. We also want it to where at least more than one person experiences something. Mm-hmm. Because if it's just one person, then that's not helpful. We also voluntarily, we tell them that they don't have to answer this because by law, we're not allowed to ask, but we ask them about medications. Mm-hmm. And we say, if you're willing to let us know, the more we know, the more helpful it is, because we do know that certain medications can cause, hallucinations and stuff like that. So if they voluntarily tell us that, and we've noticed that, some of those meds match up to, some of those, then we tell them, okay, you may want to talk to your doctor about your meds. We try not to get involved in the whole medical part of it, but again, it's to not waste anyone's time.
Right.
Because if we know that.
Would you still go and investigate, though? Because just because somebody's taking something that may make them hallucinate does not mean there's not a haunting going on.
It would depend on the situation. It would really depend. If it's only them experiencing it and they're the ones on the med, then probably not. But if they have someone else that's experiencing it too in the house, then yes.
Right. Okay. Well, like in the demonic presence, if somebody's being oppressed, they're going to maybe be hooked on drugs. They're going to have mental problems going on. And a lot of people would write them off because of this, when the oppression is what it's causing it to begin with. And so, I guess you would have to look just closer at the case.
Yeah, we have a survey, and depending on, like I said, it's several questions. It's not just, is this it? And then we go off that. It's a long survey, and depending on what they answer with each one is what determines it. Because before we used to take every single case that came our way. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were nonstop investigating, and we were never getting a break, and we were getting worn out from it. And we were coming up with nothing. We would go, and, it would be because of a bunch of mirrors is, why they're seeing shadows and reflections. It just had to deal with the mirrors, nothing else. So we started asking a bunch of questions and determining things from that.
Okay. No, I completely respect your vetting. I mean, I completely understand. Yeah. I never would have thought about a survey, to be honest.
Yeah, we had to, because, we were a small team. We weren't we're back to being a small team, all female. So we had to start thinking of something. And we also had to start doing background checks because of the fact that we did get approached by sex offenders too, so we had to look people up. And we tell people to look us up too. We're like, look into us, make sure that, we're not criminals, but we had to do the same because we didn't want to get in a position with being an all-female team,
Absolutely.
I'm we don't want to be in danger. All right, I'm going to ask one last little question, and then we'll move on to the tour. What is your favorite childhood memory? Uh-oh. See, this is one that made
it. Because you said favorite. I have many good childhood memories, but not favorite.
Okay, what's one of those good ones then?
Favorite childhood memory would honestly be, for me, flying or traveling back to Colorado from Arizona or wherever I spent time with, because I went to school years with my other grandmother on my mother's side, And then summer, I would travel back to Colorado. And then when I was 9, I moved back to Colorado. So probably for me, just coming for my summer breaks back to Colorado every summer, spending time with my grandparents and my cousins and that, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I can't really think of any specific, say, oh, that's my favorite. But, I guess it's just because it's this time of year. I grew up in Perry, Georgia, which was a small town. It isn't any longer. But in our neighborhood, we had a neighborhood swimming pool. And we'd spend all day, every day at that swimming pool, me and all my friends from the neighborhood. And especially when it's this time of year and so hot and everything, I just remember that and all the fun we had.
Right.
Yeah.
It seems like so long ago. Huh?
Yes, it does.
I always feel old when my kids, ask me questions about my childhood, but it's like questions like, did you have TV? Yes, I had TV.
And you're like, and it was color TV too.
Yes, it was color TV. Granted, I was the remote control, but still, yeah.
Like, I had a black and white TV in my bedroom too.
But I always love that because, they'll bring up something or they'll see something and they'll be like, Mom, did you have that? And then when I say, yes, I did or whatever, they'd be like, oh my God, you're old. I'm like, thanks. Love you too. Or just like the fact that, we're older than Google. And people are like, oh my God, I'm older than the internet. It's like my kids can't imagine. You didn't have internet? I'm like, I didn't even have computers. Yeah. I had phones that you had to dial. And you had to have the long cords to get any privacy.
We had typewriters. Not even automatic.
Yeah. It was just
typewriters.
It's so funny. We went to what's sad. It's sad and funny at the same time is when you go to museums and some of them are more of like, the little like, they have things from like the 80s or whatever. And like, or they have like those old phones that you actually, did it, where you actually had to do the little turn thing. My kids had no clue how you dial. I'm like, you hit the number, take it all the way around. They're like, that would take forever to dial. I'm like, yes, it did.
And you had to memorize everybody's phone number.
Yeah. Yep. Or you had that phone book right next to your phone. But yeah. My kids find that stuff amazing. They're like, oh my God, how did you survive, Mom? You didn't have everything in the palm of your hand.
And that is amazing, isn't it? The information we carry around with us. I mean,
oh yeah, you can find out everything with this thing.
A few seconds. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's like I need to know something. Google,
We'll forget something, and Mike goes, "Don't you dare look at it."
Yeah, don't Google it. We're losing our brain power. I'll sit there and think on it, and finally it'll hit me, and I'll just yell it out. She'll have no idea what I'm talking about at that point.
It's been 4 hours later. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I just find it so amazing.
And I'm like,
but we want to talk about your tour before it gets too late. Kyrra, I'm going to let you take over because Kyrra is our historian. So she is always so curious about the history and locations and things like that. So I'm going to let her ask some questions while I kind of take a break and get a drink.
All right. So I don't really know a lot about like the history of like Savannah, Georgia and kind of like that stuff. So I guess kind of question I like to ask is kind of like, what's your favorite little like tidbit or thing that maybe you've had to research for your tours or anything like that? Any fun stories from your tours you'd be willing to share?
Well, yeah, there's actually a lot of them, but being you're into the history, something that is interesting about Savannah. Savannah was founded in 1733 by the English, by James Oglethorpe. And what a lot of people don't know about James Oglethorpe, the reason he came to Savannah and wanted to start Savannah the way he did, which he's basically building an egalitarian society, a complete equal society for everyone.
That's what he wanted, yes.
Because what was going on, he had a lot of friends that was in debtor prison in England. And so he wanted to find some place that was safe for people who were destitute to have a nice place to live. And so he came to Savannah, wanted to set it up as that, as a place for when people came, they didn't have to worry about being put in prison just because they didn't have money. And so what he did do is the houses that were built on tithing lots, and families would live in those homes. And each one of those family members had 1 acre to farm inside of town, 49 acres outside of town, 50 acres, no more, no less, complete equality. And we did have a lot of indentured servants come. Now, I will say this, Oglethorpe also did not allow slavery in Savannah. He did believe in equality for all people. But he did have like indentured servants, where he took somebody who was destitute, and they was able to work off that 5-year, 7-year contract for coming over on the ship. And once they were done with that, they were able to become full citizens in Savannah, which gave them that house, which gave them those 50 acres. So he did like that idea. So a lot of people don't know, Savannah's to this day very progressive, but Savannah was started as a very progressive city.
And not just that, James, Mr. Oglethorpe, actually worked hand in hand with the natives that were here.
Yes.
He didn't try to fish them out.
Right.
He worked with them. So much so that they actually, I don't want to say ruled, but they were of equal power here in Savannah. Both him and a gentleman named Tomachichi.
Yeah, the chief here, Tomachichi, the chief of the Yamakar, or the lower Lower Creek Nation.
Yes.
He was the chief here, but Oglethorpe would run things through him before he had implemented them.
Yeah.
And he was known to, a lady who helped him translate was a lady named Mary Maxwell. And she was, no, it isn't. It's Mark. Oh, what's her name?
Not Maxwell.
No, it's not Matt. I told you the wrong name. We might be brain dead. Anyway, Miss Mary. But she was part Lower Creek Nation, Yamakar, part English. And she's able to translate. And what happened was eventually what was going on, South Carolina, the colony of South Carolina was making bukus of money. Georgia was going bankrupt. And so they pretty much shipped Oglethorpe back and then sent in royal governors and changed everything, broke all those things. But after that happened, Miss Mary was known for saying that, when Oglethorpe was here, how wonderful it was. And as soon as they came in, Savannah went downhill for a little while after that, until, we had a little thing happen in 1776 that, changed things.
Yep.
So, I mean, Georgia being the 13th colony is always interesting. I mean, some people see it as a superstition. Some people see it just, they don't think about Savannah being one of the original colonies at all. So it's kind of interesting. And just all the different histories from different countries that came over here, as people from different they immigrated to Savannah, and just the different times and histories of Savannah and what it is today, all the way right now to it being a city made pretty much upon the students of SCAD, the university, having that influx of people, and the movies nowadays that are being filmed in Savannah. It's unique. I mean, knowing that we had the first Mason?
Yes, the first Masonic Lodge is in Savannah, Georgia. So,
Okay.
So there's a lot of just deep history that you don't really think about. It's so romantic. It's something about the city. For me, it's just it's completely different vibration. Everybody kind of, when they come to Savannah, everybody tries and plans like the whole trip. And they need more than 3 days to see and experience Savannah. And I always tell people that come to visit, first day, just walk around. Just admire what you see. Ask questions. Ask locals. Don't plan everything out from everything you see on YouTube or anything else, because, it's not always going to be. You're just trying to make everything fit. Yeah. So in a box that you're not giving yourself time to experience it. Because the heartbeat to me is so different from any other city.
In Savannah, you can get here, and you can just spend days and days just on the historical aspect of Savannah.
I bet.
the spiritual part, the ghostly part of Savannah. I mean, you can spend another week doing that part because we are considered, well, we're always in the top 3 of the most voted as the most haunted city in America. You know, I can go ahead and say we are the most haunted city in America. But it is because, you know, and a lot of cities do this, but our claim is, you know, we're built on our dead. And if you come to Savannah, you'll find out how true that is. How many cemeteries there's just been built right on the top of. I can think of 3 right off the top of my head that, in fact, are on our tours.
And how far? You're not far from a corpse. How many times you walk on a square downtown and there's a corpse right there, or you know, you standing on a grave or an old cemetery, or you're, you know, standing on old tunnels, or you're, you know, standing where people were stolen to go be on ships, you know, and this is all that history.
Yes.
I mean, you're walking on bricks that were handmade by, you know, the enslaved, or made designed and made on old machinery, you know, old cotton mills that we have, and the old traditional way they ran cotton and cleaned it. It's all there. And I mean, it's so, houses where dignitaries stayed, where, you know, old people that were presidents in the United States stayed, people that were, you know, from presidents from other countries came and sat. It's just so, it can be a little bit overwhelming to really just sit there in the square in modern time and think about everybody who's walked through the city, who's been on a horse, or who's just walked through the city. You know, and you look at the trees, and these trees are big and they're grand. And you think about it, when Savannah was made, these squares were empty because they were used for the military to gather from all the homes. The gentlemen were to gather in the middle so they could see all the areas. So the beautification of the trees weren't originally there, you know. And then you think about all the bad things that happened, you know. And, you know, Martin Luther King Jr. said we were one of the most progressive cities he'd ever stepped foot in the South.
Right. That of course, that was before everything changed.
We had the first, what was school, baby?
Yeah, we had the first integrated school right after the Civil War.
And so there's all kinds of things here that you're just like, wow, I never thought about that. I never knew. And especially for me, because I really didn't have to take American history, and knowing Mike and having now to have to take it, it's just amazing. It's amazing to be like, wow, I never knew that. You know, to have Juliet Gordon Lowe, the founder of Girl Scouts, the founder of Father's Day, start her organization at her childhood home, and you know, just see that organization grow and what it is today is so beautiful. It's so amazing.
That's awesome. You're definitely selling me on like trying to get to Savannah. I was like, I know I need to get there sometime. I just need to figure out a time to go because I love traveling.
If you love history, you'll love it. And if you love the paranormal, you'll absolutely love it.
Yes.
Food, let me tell you, yum, yum,
Oh,
yum,
yes.
yum. Yes.
Yep.
We have very good restaurants.
Yes.
That sounds good.
Do you do a lot of the history on the tours that you give? Or
Yes.
is it like equal, like half paranormal, half history, or is it more history?
Well, what we like to do is we like to share the history and the folklore, the ghost stories of whatever location we're visiting. Okay, so we'll share, you know, the history that you know. And you have to be careful with history in Savannah. A lot of people just go with whatever they learn from other tours, and will state it as fact. And Savannah does offer a course you can take to learn the real history of Savannah. And so, you know, so we did do justice, our research on this. So we try to share the best accurate history that we can get our hands on with you.
But it is interesting. I got to say this. It is interesting because when you go into like where you can look up the historical facts in Savannah, the library, sometimes you'll look up somebody and they'll have 2 different stories. From like 2 different witnesses, and they don't coincide with each other at all.
So, But we
So
try
you're
to
kinda
go.
like,
Yeah, we try to go with the best we can from
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
information we can gather. And as far as the ghost stories, the folklore, with those we also try to go back as far as we can with that story, because a lot of people like our right square people, it is our hanging square, and people tell you, and they hung them from these live oaks right here. Those live oaks were planted there. If you do a little bit of research, they were planted between 1890 and 1910. Nobody in 1740 was hung from a tree that didn't exist. I mean, these
Right.
things are easy, right?
Mhm.
But so it's those sort of this. So we try to make sure what we're sharing with our guests is as accurate as possible.
Yes.
And with this ghost stories, it's hard to be as accurate as possible as you can with a ghost story, but we go with the best known story and best versions of those stories.
Yeah.
But what we do that is a little different is once we do that, in many of our locations, we actually do try to have like mini paranormal investigations. What we do is we give all of our guests EMF meters and dowsing rods. We call them spirit rods. And so they each have those in their hands. And we show them how to use it. We explain to them how they work. And
The theory behind them.
go in, we explain everything. And we we don't hold the rods. They're in our guests' hands because I don't know if you've seen people on tours, leading tours with rods in their hands. And boy, they get in action like you wouldn't believe. They say something, they cross and they uncross, they point over there. But they're in the guide's hands. So I take that with a grain of salt. Okay. But what you do, we put them in their hands, and we get some pretty interesting interactions. We also, during the course of tour, and since you guys are familiar with the paranormal equipment, some places we can pull out like REM pods where we won't get that much interference and cat balls and things like that. Things that are easy to pull out and use on the street, or on steps on the street to use. And so we do use that sort of thing. But
we let them record. We let them use their own equipment. We let them use, do their own apps. Or whatever they want to do, and we're really honestly on their time frame.
Yeah,
I mean, we're not rushing people. We don't have a big crowd. We're very intimate in our groups, and we want them, above all, to have a magical, beautiful time in Savannah. And we're open to them asking us questions and learning about the spirit world. I'll be honest. I've seen other tour companies. There's nothing against them, and I've been on them where they've had 30 people, and I think that's way too many people. Or they have a group of 30 people, and they give out one REM pod, and they don't explain to the guests what it is, what it does.
Oh no, they tell them it picks up radiation.
They do that.
I heard that radiation. I'm thinking, what?
Like, I hope not. Like, oh.
So if it's we need to move out of this area.
Exactly.
Yeah, we just heard that the other day.
we did. But
I was trying to be nice, Michael, but okay.
Well, we didn't say. But we are a newer company. We've only been in business over a year, but we've been doing these tours in Savannah for 5 years. And like Ty was saying, the people we work for, we love them. We still talk to them and whatnot. It's just they did things we didn't quite care for, like the 30 people on a tour. That's too many for us. We limit our tours to 15 people because we like to get to know our guests, and we like to have the time to use that equipment, explain how to use it, and help them use it.
Right.
We would have 2 tours a night. So we one at 8 and then one at 10. So of course we couldn't spend time with anybody at the 8 o'clock tour. We're having to hurry up to make sure we're there for that 10 o'clock tour. So what we started doing is we only offer 1 tour a night. So we're very limited on our space, but that's because our overall goal is to make sure all our guests have the best possible experience we can offer.
Yeah, and we like it more intimate, more of a friend, get together, and it's no strangers within our group. I mean, and our business is our business, and they know that they can call us, they can email us, they can on social media, and they know that we'll get back to them. If we don't know the
And speaking of that, because we're running out of time, I would love for you to tell people where they can contact you.
Oh, absolutely. Well, of course, we're Spirit Xperience with an X because we're Generation X. Let's see if I can get that up there. And there we go. And you can find that link tree right there, and that'll take you to all our social media sites and some other things that we've been on. So it's Spirit Xperience. You got to hold your hand behind it. Oh. Focus. So that's Spirit Xperience with an X. If you Google that, we'll come right up. and you can get to us from there.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for being on the show tonight. We appreciate you.
You guys were amazing. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Good luck
Thank
with
you.
everything. I know the tour business has been kind of sad lately, so hopefully things get better for all of us. But thank you and have a wonderful night, and we will be in touch.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. So, Kyrra, I know you're not coming Thursday, but we have an investigation Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, you have to miss it, but you've been there before, so you're familiar with it.
Yes. I love that place.
Yeah, it's a fun site. I'm looking forward to what we got going on. I've done it, I think, 3 times, or this will be my 3rd. And I'm looking forward to it because we've had so much happen there. So I'm like, oh, please be active.
Yeah.
But we have a lot going on, Kyrra.
I know all of a sudden I'm just like, oh, I was making like a list of all the things that like what I'm doing for you guys, and also like all like the stuff going on. I'm like, oh, we have picked up.
Yes, definitely. We were like so slow and nothing going on, and now we're probably going to be pulling out our hair.
Yeah.
I know you have taken on a lot and you got a lot going on. I know I finished the rebrand and we're trying to get that up and running, and it's just been investigation, rebrand, all this stuff. I need to get refocused on finishing the book, but that's what these investigations are for, to get up-to-date evidence and information to put in the book. So we have those going next month. So by the end of next month, I should be able to finish the book with all the new stuff. So that'll be nice because it's like kind of sitting there right now because I'm like, I want newer stuff to put in there because some of these locations I haven't investigated for a while. So the ones that would let me back in, I'm like, I'm going back in. I want, new stuff to put in there. And I know you're taking on a lot with writing. You're going to be doing some more writing and some more lectures. I'm going to be putting together some lectures. Yeah, we got a lot going on.
I was like, the little author in me is very excited. So I was like, I loved research papers. Like I miss college for the research papers because I love writing things, and that's why I like do like the posts and things like that. So it's nice to be able to like write that because I can't do creative things. Can't do that. But I can write about research and history stuff. So,
right. And you're so good at it. You're wonderful at it. So that's why I let you do that. But yeah, we are going to be nonstop and crazy for a while. I know there's a couple things you can't do since you are up in Mesa and they're here in Tucson and you have a normal job that you have to attend to.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do have to work to live.
Yeah, we all do, unfortunately. But it's harder for you being a couple hours away because that adds to it. And you don't want to be home at like 2 a.m. when you got to get up for work the next day. So
yeah, no, not when I start work at 7.
Yeah,
definitely not.
You're like,
definitely
no,
not.
that's not a good thing, and I don't blame you at all. But we did close down the Tucson Ghost Tour, so that is no more, and that was the tour that I started with. That was what got me my company. The Tucson Ghost Tour is no more. We had this past weekend was the last one. Now, starting at the end of August, we have Tucson's Haunted History. Now, it's the same locations. I'm not going to lie. Same locations. We went a little bit further in on the history due to, your facts. You've done wonderful with, the history on the tour. And our tour is only going to tell basically personal ghost stories. So it's things that we've experienced personally or have been personally told to us. So it's nothing you're going to find in a book. It's not, oh, we're going to go, see whatever book there is out there that has, haunted Tucson. It's not going to have any of those stories. They're all going to be personal. And we are going to start using equipment. Now, we don't have enough for every single person, but what we are going to do is stop in several different locations and allow, everyone a chance to use equipment at a certain location. Unfortunately, equipment is way too expensive to, allow every single person to hold it through the whole tour. It's just way too expensive. Unless I did all dowsing rods, but I did not want to do something like that. I wanted to have different equipment, different things, that everyone can use and experience. So that's exciting. That starts up in August. Our ghost hunts are back open. Yay!
Yay.
We went months without any public ghost hunts, but those open up on August 1st. So those are going to be running again. Our investigations have picked up. It's kind of sad though, because all this stuff has picked up and we're now only like a team of like 5.
Yeah.
And it's like we have all this work and we're a really small team now. So we're going to have to make do. We are going to be accepting new members, hopefully. But yeah, it's just one thing after another coming up. So bear with us. This is definitely why we only do a show every other week and not every week, because I think we would go insane with every week right now.
Yeah, definitely.
But Kyrra, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up and go ahead and tell everyone what you would like to say to them.
Thanks for listening, everyone. I know we all appreciate it. Make sure to, check out our tour once it comes live and everything, and get to see all that history, hear about all that history, and stay spooky.
All right. Yeah, like, Kyrra said, definitely check us out, TucsonGhostCompany.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, under Tucson Ghost Company and Society. Me personally, you can find on pretty much every social media out there, either under Becky McKitty Guidison or Becky at Tucson Ghost CO. The only ones I really use, though, is Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. It's too hard trying to keep up on everything, but I do have everything. It's just too much work. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We will be back not next week, but the week after with a brand new guest. And until then, remember, you're never truly alone. Good night, everyone.